Hello everyone, warm welcome to the most important session. Today we'll discuss the finance current affairs and I welcome you all on Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir and today we are going to discuss the finance current affairs from 4th to 6th of February. As you know, in this session we not only cover the general finance current affairs, but along with that we specifically discuss the RBI updates, which involves the RBI notifications, press release, RBI official speeches, RBI bulletin, as well as the RBI reports. That could be annual report along with the other publications like bulletin and all. So before we start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, so that we can begin the discussion. Good evening, Mukund. Good evening. I hope I'm audible. Are we good to go? Just give me yes sir quickly so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. So today I have many important news along with many important questions which I'll help you to answer after discussing the nitty-gritties of each and every area. Okay, here we go with the first news of the day. Good evening, Akash. Good evening. I want everyone to reply, please. Just give me a thumbs up. Just give me yes, sir, if I'm audible. And do not forget to hit the like button. Do share the link of this session with your friends so that more and more students, they can join us live in this particular session itself. Chalo, I hope now everything is fine. Without any further ado, I'll move and I'll start the discussion. Here we go with the first part, but before I start my discussion, guys, many of you generally comment in the comment section. That's where we can download the PDF. So you can download the PDF of this session from this QR code. You can just scan this QR code, join the Telegram channel, and you can easily download the PDF from the same. Sir, I have a question that whether you gonna explain reports. Yes. As I already said, Jashne Behar, that in this particular session, I'll be covering each and every important area of finance news, whether it is financial world or RBI. I generally include the reports in my day-to-day discussions where I'll discuss the specific areas from where the question could be asked. But as I promised that I will be giving you the detailed videos of different reports as well, and these videos will be uploaded soon. Once I'll start uploading these videos, I will be updating you. I will be sharing the link with you all as well. Okay, chalo. So let's begin the discussion. Here we go with the first news. The first news is related to GDP projection. We know that not only the domestic organization but also the international organizations, they project the GDP forecast not only for India but for a number of nations, which include emerging economies, developed economies, as well as the global GDP estimates are also done. So today we have an update related to one of the most important rating agencies of the country. The name is CRISIL. If you have heard this term CRISIL, CRISIL is basically India's first credit rating agency, which is set up by S&P, or I would say the S&P is the authority which is managing its day-to-day operations, and S&P is one of the largest credit rating agency of the world, which is based in US. So recently CRISIL has estimated the GDP growth rate for India. Let's check out those growth rates which are really very important. If I start my discussion, so CRISIL Rating Limited, which was earlier termed as Credit Rating and Information Services of India Limited, has projected India's GDP growth rate. India's GDP growth rate is projected as at 6.5% for the financial year, that is 2025-26. But if I talk about the current financial year, which is going to be completed on 31st of March 2025, the projection is 6.4%. So according to CRISIL, Indian economy is going to grow at a rate of 6.5% in next financial year, or I would say in the upcoming financial year, that is 2025-26, and in the current financial year, Indian GDP is going to grow at a rate of 6.4%. Not only this, in this particular report, there has been a data related to CAD, that is current account deficit. According to the data, current account deficit is 1% of GDP for the current financial year, and for the upcoming financial year, it is going to be 1.3% of the GDP. So I hope you all are very well aware what is current account deficit. So current account deficit basically means the deficit which we witness in case of current account. Now, what is current account? Don't relate current account with your bank accounts, that is saving account and current account. No, current account is basically the account which is recorded under balance of payment, and current account include the transactions. Current account basically holds the information of the transactions which are not impacting your asset or liability. So whenever we are making a foreign transaction, that means any transaction done with the foreign nations, that is included under the category of balance of payment. So out of those all foreign transactions, when we talk about only those transactions which do not impact asset or liability of the country, that is included under the current account. So in case of current account, we include remittances, inward remittance, outward remittance. We include import and export bills flow. We include profit flow. We include the salary payment flow. Even we include grants and aids which are provided from one nation to another. They all are the part of current account. So current account deficit basically means outgoing. Outgoing funds are more than, or outgoing foreign currency is more than the incoming currency. That shows that your account is deficit and nation should take required steps. Nation should take required steps in order to overcome the situation. So government is trying its level best to decrease this current account deficit. But now let's suppose if for a year current account is deficit, how government is going to manage its day-to-day operations in that particular scenario? What will government do? So government will borrow the funds, and the borrowing will be included under the capital account. Why under the capital account? Because all the foreign transactions which impact your asset or liability are the part of capital account transactions. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? So what is current account deficit? That is clear, and the data must be, remember, 1.3% of the GDP. Now, if I move ahead, the other estimates which have been done. So the other estimate is our economy is growing at a good rate and will continue to witness the economic growth as per this report. But they said private sector investment is the key. It is the key which is influencing economic growth, and it is need to be revamped, it is need to be increased to achieve the data. If I talk about CPI, yes sir, India's consumer price index has been at ease. That means our inflation rates are controlled now. It is 4.7% for the current financial year, and it is projected 4.4% for the upcoming financial year. Most importantly, fiscal deficit of the country has been estimated at 5.6% of the GDP for financial year 2023-24. It is projected as 4.8% for the financial year 2024-25, and for the upcoming financial year it is 4.4%. For the upcoming financial year it is 4.4%. Last but not the least, this report has also estimated regarding the Indian rupee depreciation. So it is expected that Indian rupee will depreciate around 87 rupees per dollar in the financial year 2025-26. This is what you need to remember. But the moment you come across with these data, one thing which must be striking you is, यार few days back मैंने इकोनॉमिक सर्वे पढ़ा था, कुछ दिन पहले मैंने बजट पढ़ा था, और उन बजट और इकोनॉमिक सर्वे के डॉक्यूमेंट्स में भी there were some projections related to GDP growth, there were a projection related to fiscal deficit. So do I remember the economic survey estimates, or I remember this estimate? So the answer is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit. Along with fiscal deficit, if I talk about the inflation rate estimates, these two areas are need to be remembered from economic survey and budget. But if I talk about GDP estimates, a GDP estimate is important. For CRISIL report, that is important, and this rupee depreciation wala part is also important. These two areas you need to remember, which can be asked in the examination. Now, if you are worried about economic survey, don't worry. I have the entire economic survey in front of you. So according to the economic survey, India's GDP growth for the current financial year 2024-25 is going to be 6.4%. And according to this particular report, According to this particular report, it is also 6.4%. For the upcoming financial year, according to India's economic survey, our GDP is going to be witnessing a growth of range 6.3 to 6.8%. 6.3 to 6.8%. This is what you need to remember. For previous financial year 2023-24, fiscal deficit is 5.6%. Yes, sir. The same has been mentioned in the report as well. The same has been mentioned in the report as well. So this is how you can relate the things and you can memorize the things. Now, if I move on to the budget, because you must be worried about the budget data. So don't worry, I have the budget data for you. 5.6 is the fiscal deficit. For 2023-24, it is 4.8% for current financial year, and it will be 4.4% for the upcoming financial year. So by revising all the three datas at one go, it will help you to remember all the datas, and you'll realize what you'll realize. You realize that fiscal deficit data is same as that of budget data. Then you'll realize that not only fiscal deficit data, the GDP growth data is also same as that of economic survey. So this will help you to remember the things in a better manner, and that is the reason I have included both the images for you. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this kind of, I would say, inclusion of each and every news simultaneously helps you a lot to connect the data, and this connecting dots will help you to grow further. This will help you to remember the data for a longer period. If it is clear, just give me yes, sir. Akash, who all are live? Let me see who all are live. Okay, so guys, those who are live, just give me yes, sir, in the comment section so that we can move ahead. Mukul, Mukund, just give me yes, sir. Thank you everyone for the reply. Let's move on to the next question. Now, moving on to the next news. Before I move on to the next news, I have a question for you. The question says, what is the primary payment service being used for instant money transfer in the X Money account? So I hope you might have heard about Twitter, which is now known as X Limited. So this Twitter or X social media has launched a wallet which is known as X Money, and this X Money will allow you to make the transactions. Now the question over here is, so with the help of this X Money, you will be transferring the funds, but on what grounds or on what basis the transactions are going to be completed? So we'll come back, we'll answer this question. Let's first try to analyze the news in much detail. So first of all, Elon Musk owned social media, the name is X, which was earlier known as Twitter, has unveiled its first digital wallet, which will allow you peer-to-peer payment. Peer-to-peer payment means person-to-person payment service that is known as X Money. So what is the name of the wallet? Digital wallet, which is launched by Twitter or X, that is X Money, in partnership with Visa. In partnership with whom? Sir, in partnership with Visa. I'm pretty sure you have never heard about the full form of Visa. Visa stands for what? Sir, it stands for Visitors International Stay Admission. Visitors International Stay Admission, to launch real-time payment system aiming to create an everything application. So it has started with the peer-to-peer format. It has started with the peer-to-peer format that it will allow you to make peer-to-peer transactions, but over the period of time, this application will be everything application. It will allow you with all different types of services which are related to the financial transactions. So remember that Visa is one of the largest credit card network which is based in US. We all know that, and it is and recently X Money has partnered with Visa, which will help X Money to launch peer-to-peer payment flow in 2025. Peer-to-peer payment flow in 2025. So remember that X Money will enable the transfer funds instantly to their bank accounts through what? So this will be allowed through Visa Direct. This will be allowed through Visa Direct. Now the question is, what is Visa Direct? So Visa Direct, basically it's Visa's real-time money transfer solution. It is basically Visa's real-time money transfer solution which will fund X Money's wallet linked to the debit card for payments to other users and facilitate smooth transfer. So what does it mean? It means the moment you will open a X Money wallet, your wallet, you will be linking the wallet with your savings account or maybe current account. From your account, amount will be debited and credited into the wallet through Visa Direct, which is real-time money transfer solution. And from X Money, you will be transferring the funds to another X Money account of another person. This transfer will also be done through Visa Direct, and that amount will be credited in the individual's linked account if required through the same service, that is Visa Direct. Through the same service, that is Visa Direct. Now I'm pretty sure you will be in a position to answer this question. What is the question all about? What is the primary payment service being used for instant money transfer in the X Money account? So the payment transfer is done with the help of real-time payment solution, which is known as Visa Direct. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? If it is clear, just give me yes, sir, so that I can move ahead. If it is clear, just give me yes, sir, so that I can move ahead quickly, guys. Okay, let's move on to the next news. So the next news is related to INX. I don't know how many of you have heard about this INX. It stands for India International Exchange. So INX stands for India International Exchange. What is the meaning of India International Exchange? So it basically means that if a foreign investor wants to invest in India and wants to invest in the Indian share market, and if the investor is investing in Bombay Stock Exchange, then in order to invest through Bombay Stock Exchange, the foreign investor will first flow its US dollars into India. These US dollars, they will be converted into rupees, and now these rupees will be invested in the Bombay Stock Exchange, or it will be invested in different assets which are offered on Bombay Stock Exchange. This is how actually the investment is done, and this investment is done only after the approval is given by RBI, and in some cases we have automatic routes as well. Now, on the other side, we know that in India we have introduced a city which is known as Gift City. We have introduced a city which is known as Gift City, which is based in Gujarat, Gandhinagar, or Gandhinagar, Gujarat. We have a term that is IFSC, that is International Financial Service Center, which is managed by IFSCA, that is International Financial Service Center Authority. Now in this Gift City, we have a stock exchange that is known as India INX. Now this India INX is a subsidiary of BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange. And now if a foreign investor wants to invest in India, they can directly invest in the Indian shares through foreign currency itself. There is no need to convert it into rupees. There's no need to open up a specific demat account which will be linked to a savings account, or which will be linked to a rupee bank account, and then that rupee bank account will be utilized to make the transaction. No. Now foreign investors can directly invest in the Indian share market or in the Indian subsidiary of BSE, where they allow the foreign investors to invest in the Indian share market through this platform, and this platform is known as India International Exchange. Now, what is the news all about? Let's try to identify the news. Please pay attention. Why this part is in news? Recently, the Chief Minister of Gujarat, the name is Bhupender Patel, has launched what? He has launched Sensex Future and Options Contracts on India International Exchange. So we know that on different stock exchanges in the country, like Bombay Stock Exchange, like National Stock Exchange, there is a trading of financial instruments which include equity shares, it include preference shares, it include debt instruments such as debentures, bonds, then we have government bonds and many more. These days we have ETF, exchange traded fund, even we have n number of other instruments as well. But along with this, there is a term that is known as derivatives. Derivatives are basically those financial instruments which receive the value from the underlying asset. So they are basically the contracts. I'll give you a very simple example. In order to understand derivative, I'll not go in much detail because we will be discussing derivative in much detail in the near future in our paid courses as well. But if I say what is future, there is an individual named I1. He is holding Infosys shares of, let's say he's having 10 Infosys shares. There is a future agreement which says that you can sell 10 Infosys shares after 1 month at a price of 200 rupees per share. Now, regardless of the market price, if you are purchasing this future agreement, that means you have hedged your investment. After 1 month, you will be in a position to sell your Infosys shares at a price of 200 rupees per share. If the prices of the share is less than 200, you will be enjoying a profit. If it is above 200, then you will be witnessing a loss. So these instruments or these contracts are known as derivative, and the example which I have taken, that is known as future derivative. So Bombay Stock Exchange has already set up India's first international stock exchange. The name of the first international stock exchange is India International Exchange. Now the same platform, the same subsidiary of BSE will not be only offering you the platform to trade in these financial instruments. Along with that, you will be allowed to invest in future and option derivatives as well, which will be available. So that is why it is a news. But let's come back. So this is set up in GIFT City. GIFT City stands for Gujarat International Financial Tech City, International Financial Service Center in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. So the new offering will allow the international investors to trade and settle BSE derivatives in United States dollars, that means in US dollars, which will allow them to participate without exposed to the foreign currency exchange rate risk. So that is the reason we are expecting huge investment through this channel in the near future. So what is F&O derivative? That is future and option derivative. These are the financial derivatives that permit traders to speculate on asset price movement without owing the asset itself. That means if that individual, which I took an example, if that individual is not even holding the shares of Infosys, then also he or she can enjoy the fluctuation across Infosys shares by just purchasing this derivative. That is the benefit of future and option derivative. Now, if I conclude, then I'll conclude in this manner. The contract will trade, first point, the contract will trade for 22 hours per day, which is in alignment with the global market and expanding access to Indian equities through tax-friendly regime. So the contracts which will be traded, these contracts will be traded 22 hours per day. Out of 24 hours, 22 hours trading will be done as it is done on the other global markets. Foreign investors also include non-resident Indians. They can also participate in the new product offering without the requirement of Indian tax identification number, that is permanent account number. Now, you can, if you are a foreign investor, even if you are a non-resident Indian, then you are allowed to participate in the new product offering without having Indian tax identification number, that is permanent account number. If I talk more on this, India International Exchange, it is the first international exchange which was established in 2017. It offers global investors a wide range of investment opportunities which will enhance the flow of inward foreign currency in the country. Managing Director and CEO is Vijay Krishnamurthy, and if I talk about its headquarters, its headquarters is in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Is it clear, guys? What is India International Exchange? It is the subsidiary of which organization? Why it was in news? What is the benefit? Why investors should invest through India International Exchange rather than investing through BSE? I hope the entire story is clear, the concept is clear, and we are good to go to the next news. If we are good to go to the next news, just give me yes sir, in the comment section so that we can move ahead. And if you have any doubt till this point, you may ask, please. Moving on to the next news, RBI has recently imposed penalty on one of the small finance bank and on one of the payment bank. Now remember guys, I always say this, RBI comes up with n number of penalties on regular basis, but we don't remember, we don't learn, we don't cover those n number of penalties every day because they are not asked in the examination. But I always say whenever a penalty is charged, and if the penalty is charged on, whenever a penalty is charged, and if the penalty is charged on, I would say, a bank which is in news, that is need to be remembered. So let's check out what is the news all about. Reserve Bank of India has recently charged penalty on Equitas Small Finance Bank as well as on the India Post Payment Bank, which is government owned payment bank. So Equitas Small Finance Bank was fined 65 lakh rupees. Why the 65 lakh rupees of penalty was charged? And it was charged because of non-compliance. Non-compliance means the bank has not followed the RBI norms, RBI directions related to levy of foreclosure charges or prepayment penalty on floating rate term loans. If you remember, whenever you close your account, whenever you close your loan account before time period, in that particular case we use the word pre-closure, we use a word foreclosure, and in that particular case there are certain charges which are involved, and if bank is not fulfilling the compliance, then RBI has charged the penalty. Even the penalty is charged because of the credit flow to agriculture, collateral free agriculture loans related compliances are also not fulfilled by Equitas. And Equitas Small Finance Bank, as the name suggests, small finance bank, it has a criteria that it should be providing 75% of A and BC in the priority sector in accordance or in line with regional rural banks, that is RRBs. But if I talk about Indian Post Payment Banks, or on Indian Post Payment Bank, the penalty value is 26.70 lakhs. So 65 lakhs on Equitas and 26.70 lakhs on Indian Post Payment Bank because of the customer service impact. So it is related to the deficiencies in the customer services which are provided by the bank. Clear guys? Moving on to the next news. The next news talks about SEBI proposal, new combo product. One is mutual funds and the other one is term life insurance. So what is this news all about? Please pay attention. Securities and Exchange Board of India, the capital market regulator, is planning to introduce new financial product which combines mutual funds investment with term life insurance. So what does it basically means? It basically means on one side, you are opting for systematic investment plan where you are investing your funds in mutual funds with the expectation of huge returns in the near future. Now on the other side, SEBI is thinking that why not these regular payments will provide you with the additional service of term life insurance as well. So on this plan, this news has been introduced. So SEBI chairperson, we all know her, Madhav Sir, she has made the announcement which aims to enhance systematic investment plan in rural areas. The product would enable customers to combine life insurance with mutual fund investment, offering a more affordable and appealing solution that promotes financial inclusion in the unserved region. So what is it? So we want that public should invest in mutual funds, but because of risk involved related to mutual funds and many other factors, we have witnessed the public is still very reluctant to the mutual fund investment. So now there is a new initiative taken which says that you can invest in mutual funds the similar way you are investing earlier, that is systematic investment plan where you invest on regular basis, generally monthly basis. Now along with your monthly installment which you are making as a systematic investment plan, that amount will not only help you to earn returns through mutual fund investment, but it will also help you to enjoy the life insurance benefits under the same format itself. So remember this news, this is very important. SEBI is now working on this particular initiative where your SIPs will not only allow you to enjoy mutual fund investment, it will also help you to enjoy term life insurance benefits. Lastly, SEBI is also working on pay right initiative which help investors verify the authenticity of UPI payment through Know Your Customer, reducing the risk of digital frauds. So I hope you remember, I have discussed this point that in case of UPI, in case of IMPS, you can check the name of the receiver if you have the account details. But now the same service will be provided against RTGS and NEFT. If you remember, this was the news which we have discussed. Now coming on the other side, SEBI is working on Pay Right initiative which will help investors verify the authenticity of UPI payments. Now Pay Right initiative means now the investors, they can verify the authenticity of UPI payments through UPI, through KYC checks, reducing the risk of digital fraud. For example, if I want to invest in a mutual fund and at the time of investment, I'm pretty unsure that whether this payment will be done in a correct UPI account or not. But now you can do a cross check with the help of Pay Right initiative, which has been introduced by SEBI, which will undoubtedly enhance the investors' confidence. It will increase the digital transactions and it will overall increase the financial inclusion in the country. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? So these two news, most probably they will be asked in phase 1 examination for sure. Penalty on IFTAS and Indian Post Payment Bank, why the penalty is charged, and secondly, SEBI is planning to launch mutual funds benefit along with term life insurance, and SEBI is also planning to come up with Pay Right initiative in order to decrease fraud digital payments. Done, guys. Moving on to the next news, but before that, I have a question. The question says, which of the following security feature is incorporated in product tested under RBI's regulatory sandbox? So RBI regulatory sandbox, if you don't know, sandbox is what? Whenever we use a word beta version, कि भैया उन्होंने एक ऐप लॉन्च की, उसका बीटा वर्जन दिया, यानी कि सैंडबॉक्स का मतलब है टेस्टिंग फेज. आपने एक एप्लीकेशन डेवलप की और आप उस एप्लीकेशन को टेस्ट कर रहे हैं विद इन अ लिमिटेड नंबर, विद इन अ लिमिटेड सेट ऑफ यूजर्स. दैट इज बेसिकली अ टेस्टिंग फेज, और वही जब यहां यूज किया जाता है दैट इज नोन एज सैंडबॉक्स. सो RBI has launched an application and its sandbox, or I would say its authentication, or I would say its operations are being checked. So the news or the question is related to the same. Let's try to find out the news. What is this? Reserve Bank of India has launched what? So it has launched a regulatory sandbox. It has launched a regulatory sandbox to test what? So in order to test an application that is known as on-tap application. On-tap application facility under the theme of real or retail payments. Under the theme of retail payments. So RBI has recently launched regulatory sandbox, which means a testing phase launched by regulator, that is RBI, for an application that is known as on-tap application. So recently Chennai-based Exto India Technologies Private Limited was selected to participate in the testing phase of this application. The company tested an offline, pay attention, company tested the offline digital payment solution integrating distributed ledger technology. If you remember, distributed ledger technology is the same technology which was used in order to set up blockchain, where there we have nodes, and on each and every node information is updated, and there is the data sharing, that on which node information is updated or how this information is updated. That is known as distributed ledger technology with private biometric authentication, enabling offline card to card and card to phone transactions. So in this case, the name of the application is important, that is on-tap application. Second, two terms are important. One is distributed ledger technology. So what is distributed ledger technology? Please pay attention. It is basically a technological infrastructure and protocol जो allow करता है क्या? सर ये allow करता है simultaneous access, validation as well as record updating across the networked database. तो जो आपका network database है उस पे simultaneously आपके data को access किया जा सकता है, validate किया जा सकता है और update किया जा सकता है, और उस updation के जहां जिस पॉइंट पे अपडेट हो रहा है उसको रिकॉर्ड भी किया जाता है, उसे रिकॉर्ड भी किया जाता है, जिससे आपका डेटा ज्यादा ऑडिट के लायक ना रहे, ज्यादा ऑडिट करने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लेजर्स जो है ये मेंटेन किए जाते हैं बाय अ नेटवर्क ऑफ व्हाट सर, बाय अ नेटवर्क ऑफ नोड्स, ईच ऑफ विच हैज अ कॉपी ऑफ लेजर, जो वैलिडेट करेगा इंफॉर्मेशन को और हेल्प करेगा कि जो आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो करेक्ट फॉर्मेट पर डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो। तो जो हम बात करते हैं ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी की, इट इज बेस्ड ऑन डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लेजर टेक्नोलॉजी ओनली। सारी की सारी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लेजर टेक्नोलॉजीज ब्लॉकचेन होंगी ये जरूरी नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ, ब्लॉकचेन इज व्हाट, इट इज अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड लेजर टेक्नोलॉजी। अगला पॉइंट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, काफी लोगों ने आप में से ये नहीं, हाँ बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली, डीटीएल का यूज तो बहुत पहले से हो रहा है, लेकिन ये न्यूज में जब आया जब बिटकॉइन बहुत बड़ा हुआ, उससे पहले कोई इसको जानता भी नहीं, तो दैट इज अ पॉइंट। यू आर एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट परमेश्वर। मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट, अगला पॉइंट क्या है सर? अगला पॉइंट है प्राइवेट बायोमेट्रिक ऑथोराइजेशन। कभी आपने सुना है प्राइवेट बायोमेट्रिक ऑथोराइजेशन? इसका मतलब क्या? इसको ऐसा समझो, आप बैंक में गए, बैंक ने जाकर आपसे आपके फिंगरप्रिंट को स्कैन कराया, रेटिना आई स्कैन कराया, और बैंक ने उसे इनक्रिप्ट करके अपने डेटाबेस में सेव कर लिया। अब अगली बार जब आप अपने अकाउंट को एक्सेस करने जाएंगे तो उस केस में आपके फिंगरप्रिंट को दोबारा स्कैन किया जाएगा और अपने जो स्टोर डेटा है उससे मैच किया जाएगा। अगर वो डेटा मैच हो गया तो यू विल एक्सेस द अकाउंट, अदरवाइज यू विल नॉट बी अलाउड टू एक्सेस द अकाउंट। दैट इज रियली वेरी सिंपल। अब आप इसको प्राइवेट बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन क्यों कह रहे हैं सर? आधार वाला याद करो, आज की डेट में हर बैंक के पास आपका डेटा स्टोर नहीं है। आप जाते हैं, आधार कार्ड देते हैं, अपना फिंगरप्रिंट स्कैन करते हैं, तो फिर आधार यूआईडीएआई के डेटा को बैंक एक्सेस करता है, उससे मैच करता है, उससे वैलिडेट करता है, और तब जाकर आपका केवाईसी कंप्लीट होता है। लेकिन अब द थिंग्स आर डिफरेंट। इमेजिन करो, इमेजिन क्या करना है यार, थोड़ा सोचो, जब आप कोई हॉलीवुड मूवी देखते हैं उसमें जब भी कभी कोई भी इंडिविजुअल बैंक में जाता है तो दे जनरली कम अप विद दिस एंटायर हैंड स्कैन, और उस स्कैनिंग के बाद ही आपको अकाउंट एक्सेस करने दिया जाता है। तो क्या वो भी वहां पे आधार कार्ड से पूछते हैं क्या कि भैया देखना ये हाथ उसी आदमी का जो हमारे यहाँ अकाउंट चलाने आया? नहीं, आपको तो उस बंदे का नाम तक नहीं पता। यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्विस बैंक्स where you don't know the identity, or you are not allowed to share the identity. Even you don't take the identity at the time of opening the account. So in that particular case, you cannot share the data, you cannot access the data. आपके पास वो information personally store होगी और उसी personal stored information को आप access करते हैं. That is known as private biometric authorization. एक point और आता है, that is known as on card ऑथेंटिकेशन। ऑन कार्ड बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन का मतलब क्या, ये ध्यान से सुनना। अब मैं बैंक के पास गया, मैंने बैंक को कहा कि सर मुझे क्रेडिट कार्ड इशू कर दो, बैंक ने मुझे क्रेडिट कार्ड इशू किया। जैसे बैंक ने मुझे क्रेडिट कार्ड इशू किया, अब उस क्रेडिट कार्ड को बैंक ने एक मशीन में इंसर्ट किया, और उसी मशीन पे देयर वाज अ स्पेस जहां पे उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि सर आप प्लीज अपने फिंगरप्रिंट को स्कैन करो। जैसे मैंने अपने फिंगरप्रिंट को स्कैन किया, वो डेटा बैंक के पास तो है, लेकिन वही फिंगरप्रिंट स्कैन का डेटा मेरे कार्ड की चिप, जो मेरे कार्ड में चिप है, क्रेडिट कार्ड पे जो चिप है, उसमें भी स्टोर हो गया। अब मैं ये क्रेडिट कार्ड लेकर घर आ गया। अब जब मुझे फ्यूचर में पेमेंट करनी होगी, एट द टाइम ऑफ मेकिंग द पेमेंट, जैसे मैं क्रेडिट कार्ड को इंसर्ट करूंगा, उसमें मैंने क्या लिंक किया सर? उसमें मैंने लिंक किया कि दिस क्रेडिट कार्ड विल बी अवेलेबल और इट विल बी एक्सेस्ड ओनली आफ्टर बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन। अब जैसे ही मैंने इस क्रेडिट कार्ड को इंसर्ट किया किसी मशीन में और मुझे पेमेंट करनी है, उस मशीन पे फिर से क्या होगा, एक स्कैनर होगा। मैंने वहां पे अपनी फिंगरप्रिंट रखी, वो इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे कार्ड पे गया और कार्ड ने कहा सॉरी सर, कार्ड ने कहा सॉरी सर, ये वो इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है, ये वो डेटा नहीं है जो मेरे कार्ड पे ऑलरेडी स्टोर्ड है। तो ये जो इंडिविजुअल है, इज नॉट ऑथोराइज्ड टू यूज दिस कार्ड एंड द ट्रांजैक्शन विल नॉट बी डन। दिस टाइप ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन इज नोन एज ऑन कार्ड बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन। कमिंग बैक टू द न्यूज, अब न्यूज क्या कहती है सर? न्यूज कहती है कि रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया की जो ऑन टैप एप्लीकेशन है, उसके लिए आरबीआई ने रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स को इंट्रोड्यूस किया, जिसकी टेस्टिंग की गई एक्सटो इंडिया टेक्नोलॉजीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड द्वारा। इट इज बेस्ड ऑन डीएलटी, that is distributed ledger technology, and private biometric authentication. The key features of this innovation include use of cryptography in distributed ledgers, on card biometric authentication, टाइम लिमिटेड बैलेंस। टाइम लिमिटेड बैलेंस का मतलब देयर विल बी अ टाइम, 10,000 रुपए आपके पास एक महीने तक रहेंगे, एक महीने बाद 10,000 रुपए चले जाएंगे, दैट इज टाइम लिमिटेड बैलेंस, ताकि आप ओवर स्पेंडिंग ना करो, डबल स्पेंडिंग ना करो, दैट हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड। अब क्वेश्चन यहां पर ये आता है कि सर जो स्टार्टिंग में क्वेश्चन था उसका आंसर क्या होगा, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग सिक्योरिटी फीचर इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन प्रोडक्ट टेस्टेड अंडर आरबीआई रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स। सर इसमें प्राइवेट बायोमेट्रिक ऑथेंटिकेशन इज द फीचर विच हैज बीन इंक्लूडेड, तो आंसर क्या होगा, दैट इज ए ऑप्शन। क्लियर हुआ? अरे इज इट क्लियर? अगली बार कोई पूछेगा डीएलटी क्या है, कोई पूछेगा डीएलटी के बाद प्राइवेट बायोमेट्रिक ऑथोराइजेशन क्या है, या कोई पूछेगा ऑन कार्ड ऑथोराइजेशन क्या है, या ऑन कार्ड बायोमेट्रिक authorization क्या है, तो I'm pretty sure you will be in a position to answer these questions in the examination. Say yes or no in the comment section so that we can move ahead. Okay, moving on to the next. The next news talks about CA Grameen receives $50 million loan from IFC. IFC is one of the bank or one of the institution under the World Bank Group. So let's check out the news. क्रेडिट एक्सेस ग्रामीण लिमिटेड क्या है? सर ये इंडिया की एनबीएफसी है, इंडिया की लार्जेस्ट एनबीएफसी है। कौन से वाली? माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंस्टीट्यूशन, यानी कि जो माइक्रो फाइनेंस प्रोवाइड करती है। माइक्रो फाइनेंस पे ऑलरेडी इन द प्रीवियस सेशंस बहुत डिटेल में हमने डिस्कस किया था, जिसमें कहा था कि अगर आपकी हाउस होल्ड इनकम 3 लाख से कम है देन यू आर एलिजिबल अंडर माइक्रो फाइनेंस। माइक्रो फाइनेंस के केस में जो आपको लोन वैल्यू होगी वो फर्स्ट गो में 50,000 से ज्यादा नहीं हो सकती, दूसरे गो में एक बार आप कंप्लीट करेंगे तो दूसरे गो में यू विल बी एलिजिबल फॉर 1 लाख एंड मूविंग फॉरवर्ड। दूसरा था कि जो आपका लोन है उस लोन की जो ईएमआई होगी वो आपके मंथली इनकम के 50% से कम होगी। उसके साथ साथ ये भी कंडीशन थी कि अगर आपका लोन 30,000 या उससे ज्यादा वैल्यू का है तो उस केस में आपका जो टाइम पीरियड होगा टू रिटर्न द लोन दैट इज गोइंग टू बी मोर देन 24 मंथ्स, और ये जितने भी लोन है दे ऑल आर गोइंग टू बी कोलेटरल फ्री, विदाउट कोलेटरल ये लोन दिए जाएंगे। दीज आर द फीचर्स ऑफ माइक्रो फाइनेंस, माइक्रो लोन्स। अब यहां पर क्वेश्चन क्या आया कि सर इस इंस्टीट्यूट को $50 मिलियन का लोन दिया गया, किसके द्वारा? किसके द्वारा? आईएफएससी द्वारा, जो कि क्या है, इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन। और ये इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंस कॉर्पोरेशन क्या है? सर इट इज द मेंबर ऑफ वर्ल्ड बैंक ग्रुप। फंडिंग एम्स टू इंप्रूव फाइनेंशियल एक्सेस for micro entrepreneurs and support 3 to 4 million additional women borrowers। तो इससे एंड ऑफ द डे माइक्रो फाइनेंस इंडिया में इंप्रूव होगा। $50 बिलियन को इंडिया में माइक्रो फाइनेंस पर्पसेस के लिए डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया जाएगा, विच विल अनडाउटेडली enhance the day-to-day upliftment of not only the rural public but as well as the women upliftment will be witnessed with the help of the same. That is the crux of the story। पढ़ लीजिएगा। अगले न्यूज पे चलते हैं। अगली न्यूज क्या है? सर व्हाट इज प्रपोज्ड इंक्रीज इन एटीएम कैश ट्रांजैक्शन फीस बियॉन्ड फ्री लिमिट एज रिकमेंडेड बाय एनपीसीआई। हम सब जानते हैं इफ यू आर यूजिंग योर एटीएम कार्ड एंड यू आर गोइंग फॉर इंटर बैंक एटीएम ट्रांजैक्शन। इंटर बैंक एटीएम ट्रांजैक्शन का मतलब क्या कि सर आपके पास जो डेबिट कार्ड है वो तो एसबीआई का है, बट जो मशीन आप एक्सेस कर रहे हैं, एटीएम जो एक्सेस कर रहे हैं वो आईसीआईसीआई का है। तो इसका मतलब डेबिट कार्ड एसबीआई का, मशीन आईसीआईसीआई की, दिस इज नोन एज इंटर बैंक एटीएम ट्रांजैक्शन। मेट्रो सिटी में आपको 3 ट्रांजैक्शंस पर मंथ फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मिलती है, और अदर एरियाज में, अर्बन एरियाज में यू गेट 5 ट्रांजैक्शंस पर मंथ फ्री इफ दे आर व्हाट? सर दे आर इंटर बैंक एटीएम ट्रांजैक्शंस। और इसके बाद जैसे आप ये फ्री ट्रांजैक्शंस को क्रॉस कर जाते हैं, फ्री लिमिट को क्रॉस कर जाते हैं, उस केस में क्या होगा? सर उस केस में आपके ऊपर पेनल्टी चार्ज होगी, आप ये कहो कि चार्जेस चार्ज होंगे, और वो चार्जेस को रिसेंटली इंक्रीज किया गया है। कितना किया गया है उस पर बात करते हैं, तो ध्यान से सुनिएगा। एनपीसीआई, नेशनल पेमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया ने रिकमेंड किया एटीएम कैश ट्रांजैक्शन फीस को इंक्रीज कर दो 21 रुपीज से, इंक्रीज करके कितना कर दो? 22 रुपीज कर दो। तो यहां पर हमारा आंसर क्या होगा? बी ऑप्शन। तो इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर क्या बनेगा? बी ऑप्शन। पढ़ लेते हैं, दोबारा आएंगे। एटीएम इंटरचेंज फी हाइक प्रपोज्ड 17 to 19 फॉर कैश ट्रांजैक्शंस एंड 6 to 7 फॉर नॉन कैश ट्रांजैक्शन। सर ये क्या कर रहे हो? एक तरफ तो कह रहे हो एटीएम कैश ट्रांजैक्शन फीस है 21-22 रुपए, दूसरी तरफ कह रहे हो कि ये फीस है 17 से 19 रुपए। समझ नहीं आ रहा, सुनो ध्यान से, सुनना ध्यान से। अब हुआ क्या, ये है हमारा आईसीआईसीआई का एटीएम, ठीक है। मेरा डेबिट कार्ड है एसबीआई का, मैं गया, मैंने अपना डेबिट कार्ड इंसर्ट किया और इंसर्ट करने के बाद मैंने 10,000 रुपए विड्रॉ किए और मैं बढ़िया बढ़िया घर आ गया। मेरे ऊपर कोई चार्जेस नहीं लगे क्योंकि फरवरी मंथ की ये क्या थी, मेरी फर्स्ट ट्रांजैक्शन थी। फर्स्ट ट्रांजैक्शन फॉर अ कस्टमर क्या होगी, फ्री होगी। फर्स्ट ट्रांजैक्शन फॉर अ कस्टमर क्या होगी, फ्री होगी। ये तो सही है, लेकिन सर प्रॉब्लम कहां है, प्रॉब्लम यहां है कि ये ट्रांजैक्शन आपके लिए तो फ्री है, लेकिन आपको सर्विस दी किसने, आईसीआईसीआई ने। लेकिन क्या आप आईसीआईसीआई के कस्टमर है, नहीं सर, आप तो एसबीआई के कस्टमर है। तो आपको ये जो सर्विस मिली आईसीआईसीआई से, उसका चार्ज एसबीआई आपसे नहीं ले रहा, वो एसबीआई की प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन उसके अगेंस्ट चार्जेस आईसीआईसीआई तो चार्ज करेगा। तो उस केस में एसबीआई जो चार्जेस देगा आईसीआईसीआई को, दैट इज नोन एज एटीएम इंटरचेंज फीस, जो कि पहले 17 रुपीज थी, अब उसी को इंक्रीज करके कितना कर दिया, 19। सेम इज द केस अगर आपकी फ्री ट्रांजैक्शंस कंप्लीट हो चुकी हैं, अगर आपकी फ्री ट्रांजैक्शंस कंप्लीट हो चुकी हैं और आपकी ट्रांजैक्शन पे मान लेते हैं 22 रुपए डिडक्ट हुए, तो ये जो 22 रुपए का डेबिट है, ये किया किसने, सर 22 रुपए का डेबिट तो आपके बैंक ने किया ना, एसबीआई ने। आईसीआईसीआई ने तो कुछ किया नहीं। आपने 10,000 लिखा, आईसीआईसीआई ने बेचारे ने अपनी मशीन से 10,000 दे दिए, आपके अकाउंट से कट गए 10,000, 22 रुपए। तो 22 रुपए तो एसबीआई के पास है, तो उन 22 में से 19 रुपए, पहले 17 था, अब 19 रुपए एसबीआई किसे देगा, आईसीआईसीआई को। क्यों उसका रीजन समझो कि सर आईसीआईसीआई ने जो एटीएम खोला है उसमें पर मंथ रेंट जा रहा है, एटीएम पर एसी लगा है, उसका एक्सपेंस है, यानी कि आईसीआईसीआई के ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंस है। और उन ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस को अगर मैं पर ट्रांजैक्शन पे निकालूं तो आईसीआईसीआई के ऊपर पर ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट है या आईसीआईसीआई के ऊपर पर ट्रांजैक्शन एक्सपेंडिचर है। ICICI can bear the cost or expenditure for its own customer, not for the other bank's customer. और अगर other bank customer transaction है, then payment will be done from the bank, whether it is free for your customer or not. Your bank is always responsible to pay that charge to the service provider bank. In your example, that is ICICI. Clear हुआ ये point? अरे समझ आया। तो अगर आपने कैश निकाला तो 19 रुपए देने पड़ेंगे और अगर आपने सिर्फ बैलेंस चेक किया तो 7 रुपए देकर चल जाएगा, जो कि पहले 17 या 6 रुपए थे, विच वर अर्लियर 17 और 6 रुपीज। सो बैंक्स पे इंटरचार्ज और इंटरचेंज फीस व्हेन देयर कस्टमर यूज अदर बैंक्स एटीएम। फॉर नॉन मेट्रो एरियाज, इंडस्ट्री प्लेयर्स रिकमेंडेड 29 रुपीज पर कैश ट्रांजेक्शन एंड 7 रुपीज फॉर नॉन कैश ट्रांजेक्शन। तो करंट आरबीआई रूल्स जो है वो आपको मैंने बता दिए। अब उसके बेसिस पर अगर मैं अपने क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करूंगा तो क्वेश्चन क्या कहता है, सर क्वेश्चन कहेगा आंसर क्या होगा 21 to 22, लेकिन इंटर चेंज फीस कितनी है, 17 की जगह अब कितनी हो गई 19 फॉर कैश ट्रांजेक्शन, और 6 रुपीज जो थी, 6 रुपीज जो थी किसके लिए, सर फॉर नॉन कैश ट्रांजेक्शन इट हैज बीन इंक्रीज टू 7, इट हैज बीन इंक्रीज टू 7। याद रहेगा, क्लियर है, पॉइंट समझ आ गया। चलिए, तो आई होप पूरे का पूरा पॉइंट क्लियर है। लास्ट न्यूज की ओर बढ़ते हैं। लास्ट न्यूज क्या कहती है, विच फिनफ्लुएंसर लेड स्टार्टअप बिकेम इंडियाज फर्स्ट टू सिक्योर RIA लाइसेंस फ्रॉम सेबी। अगर आपको याद हो, सेबी ने एक नोटिफिकेशन दी थी और सेबी ने कहा था कि अगर कोई इन्फ्लुएंसर ओपनली बताने आएगा इन फ्रंट ऑफ कैमरा, इंस्टाग्राम, फेसबुक, LinkedIn, wherever, कि यहां इन्वेस्ट कीजिए, इस इंस्ट्रूमेंट में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए, दैट इंडिविजुअल कैन बी चार्ज एज पर द सेबी नॉर्म्स। तो सेबी ने कहा पहले अपने आप को रजिस्टर करो, जब सेबी आपको लाइसेंस देगा देन ओनली यू कैन शेयर दी और देन ओनली यू कैन इन्फ्लुएंस द पब्लिक रिलेटेड टू द फाइनेंशियल डिसीजंस। अब उसी केस में एक बहुत बड़े आप कह सकते हैं कि एक बहुत बड़ा फाइनेंशियल है या फाइनेंशियल इन्फ्लुएंसर है, द नेम इज शरण हिच, जिन्होंने कंपनी खोली जिसका नाम है 1% क्लब। ये बनी है इंडिया की पहली फिनफ्लुएंसर लेड स्टार्टअप जिसको रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजर लाइसेंस दिया है किसने, सेबी ने, जिसको रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजर लाइसेंस दिया है किसने? सेबी ने। तो बस ये पॉइंट, इतना ही एरिया इंपॉर्टेंट है, फेज 1 में पूछे जाने के पूरे पूरे चांसेस हैं। अब उस हिसाब से अगर हम बात करें आंसर क्या होगा? फिनफ्लुएंसर लेड स्टार्टअप बिकेम इंडियाज फर्स्ट टू सिक्योर, तो आंसर होगा शरण हेज 1% क्लब इज द करेक्ट आंसर। बोलो क्लियर हुआ, समझ आ गया? एक एक पॉइंट जो आज हमने डिस्कस किया क्रिस्टल क्लियर है। अगर आप चाहते हैं इस सेशन की पीडीएफ को डाउनलोड करना तो ये क्यूआर कोड स्कैन कर लीजिए, यहां पर आपको ये सेशन की पीडीएफ मिल जाएगी। एक बार कमेंट सेक्शन में बताइए हाउ वाज द सेशन। एक एक न्यूज जो मैंने डिस्कस की क्लियर थी? जो न्यूज जितनी डिटेल में डिस्कस करने की रिक्वायरमेंट थी उसी तरह से मैंने डिस्कस किया। कोशिश की कि हर फाइनेंशियल टर्म को डिटेल में डिस्कस करूं ताकि जिनका फाइनेंस के साथ ज्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं है, दे कैन ऑल्सो रिलेट विद ईच एंड एवरी न्यूज विच वी हैव डिस्कस्ड। इट इज द ओनली स्टार्टअप मींस, मैं समझा नहीं। इसमें पॉइंट स्टार्टअप का नहीं है, इसमें जो पॉइंट है वो पता क्या था इस न्यूज को डिस्कस करने के पीछे? इस न्यूज को पीछे डिस्कस करने के पीछे ये था कि रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट लाइसेंस, रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजर का लाइसेंस पहली बार दिया गया है किसे? एक फिन इन्फ्लुएंसर लेड स्टार्टअप को, और वो है 1% क्लब, और वो है 1% क्लब। तो ये इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है मेरे लिए, ये पार्ट ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट था कि गवर्नमेंट ने, सेबी ने क्या नॉर्म्स निकाली थी अगेंस्ट फिनफ्लुएंसर। फिर अब RIA क्या है? दैट इज रजिस्टर्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइजर, जिसका लाइसेंस कौन देता है? सेबी। रिसेंटली लाइसेंस किसको दिया? 1% क्लब को लाइसेंस दिया गया। ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया? इज इट क्लियर ना? फर्स्ट स्टार्टअप नहीं है ना, तो इट इज द ओनली स्टार्टअप है, ना ही ये फर्स्ट स्टार्टअप है। ये पहला वो स्टार्टअप है जो कि प्रमोटेड है, विच इज लेड बाय अ फिनफ्लुएंसर। उस वजह से ये इंपॉर्टेंट हो गया, इस वजह से न्यूज में आ गया, वरना तो इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है। क्लियर हुआ पॉइंट? फिनफ्लुएंसर की वजह से ही चीजें न्यूज में आई, वरना तो ये न्यूज में इंक्लूड ही नहीं करता। ठीक है जी, तो आज के लिए बस इतना ही। अगली क्लास में मुलाकात होगी। कोई और डाउट है तो अभी पूछ लीजिए, वरना आप कमेंट सेक्शन में भी अपने डाउट्स पूछ सकते हैं, वरना आप कमेंट सेक्शन में भी अपने डाउट पूछ सकते हैं। लेकिन जाने से पहले होमवर्क जरूर देना चाहूंगा, एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि आप होमवर्क को कमेंट करेंगे कमेंट सेक्शन में। और वो होमवर्क क्या है? वो होमवर्क क्या है? अकॉर्डिंग टू इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, अकॉर्डिंग टू economic survey, what is the current account deficit estimate for 2025-26, and according to budget, what is the current account deficit for 2025-26? हो सकता है कि इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में एस्टिमेट ना हो तो उसके सामने लिख देना n, और अगर एस्टिमेट हो तो वैल्यू लिख देना। अगर बजट में एस्टिमेट ना मिले आपको n लिख देना, अगर मिल जाए तो वैल्यू लिख देना। तो या तो वैल्यू लिखिएगा परसेंटेज में एज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ जीडीपी, या फिर यू कैन राइट n। आई विल बी लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर दिस आंसर इन द कमेंट सेक्शन बाय लेट इवनिंग टुडे इटसेल्फ। तो आज 10, 11, 12 बजे तक जरूर रिप्लाई कीजिएगा, एंड आई विल बी रिप्लाइंग ऑन योर आंसर्स कि किसका आंसर सही है किसका गलत है। सो डू नॉट फॉरगेट टू शेयर द फीडबैक, कैसा था आज का सेशन, और अगर इस सेशन को लेकर आपके कुछ सजेशंस हैं तो सजेशन भी जरूर दीजिए, सो दैट आई कैन इंक्लूड दोस सेशंस एंड वी कैन मेक दिस मोर इन्फ्लुएंशियल, मोर इफेक्टिव, मोर result oriented session for you all. Thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you soon. Good luck. God bless you all.